doing? Couch Guys Sports Podcast, episode 197. Of course, couchguysports.com. Follow us on iTunes, Spotify, everywhere you can have podcasts now. We're everywhere. Nick changed the back end like I did with Into the Triangle. So literally absolutely anywhere you can think of a podcast audio being, that's where we are. No Nick this week, if you haven't noticed by now. Al's on the other side. Good friend Diego is
What's
also
up,
here.
boys?
I think we upgraded, honestly.
It's not hard. It's not hard. Of course, all the socials. Don't forget to follow Couch Guys Sports, Instagram, Twitter, the Twitch channel, YouTube channel, all that good stuff. Big stuff coming there like it always has been. We just announced a new show coming on board today around the Diamond Podcast. Is going to be the official MLB podcast of Couch Guys Sports. Into the Triangle because Red Sox focus. They'll be all baseball.
And High Heat Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Is our fantasy baseball podcast.
Got the baseball on this network going through the roof.
And we're also going to have another announcement, too, later on the week with another sport. So make sure you're following. Make sure you're following. If
you like baseball, it's the place to be. Al and I started it and held it down at the beginning. We're upgrading. It's much better talent than the two of us taking over other podcasts. So we're just going to focus on the Red Sox, and they can take care of the rest of it.
Love it.
Boys, all right. We have a lot to talk about. I'm not going to get into the weekly dump. There's not much, to be honest. There's not a lot. Jaylen Brown turned out a dunk contest. Cool. Like,
kind of a slow week, don't you think?
Yeah.
Slower than usual.
We were texting before the show, and Diego's like, "So what are we talking about?" And I'm like, "Honestly, I have no idea because there hasn't been much news. Like I think the big news was J.J. Watt signing, right?
Yes.
But because the Cardinals came out of effing nowhere. Like, I think that might be like the outside of Boston, like the big news this week. Let's start there, and then we can jump into like the local stuff, I guess, with J.J. Watt. The Cardinals, of all teams, we thought Green Bay, the Brownies, that's where I wanted him to go.
I know.
Our own Couch Guy Sports, Zach Jeziero's Buffalo Bills.
Ha.
Sorry, Zach. Suck it. You're not getting J.J. Watt. And
the Bills don't win the big one again.
Old teammate DeAndre Hopkins gets his boy back. Going to the Arizona Cardinals, 2-year deal. Zach is being defensive and saying, well, I didn't want to pay him that kind of money. It's fine. You wanted J.J. Watt running down whoever the heck's going to be the Patriots quarterback 2 times next year. But no, not happening. Thank God for the Patriots for whatever their hopes are next year. And we'll talk about them in a minute because there's some free agent news to talk about in relation to them. So we'll talk about that. But, guys, J.J. Watt really quietly announces not going to any of the favorites. Kind of shocking.
Yeah, you know what it is? I think it's a testament to his market because think about it. The Cardinals are paying what? They're giving him $23 million guaranteed. I think it was like 2 for 31, something like that, with 23 guaranteed. Like, I'm not sure if those are the exact numbers, but it's like you're telling me that another team didn't want to go get a guy that's been a Pro Bowler, a guy that's a proven defensive player of the year. That says something about J.J. Watt because he's not the guy he used to be. And frankly, you hate to say it, but he's kind of injured goods at this point. You know, he's more likely to be on the injured reserve list than be on the field.
Yeah, but the last couple of years, it hasn't been as bad.
It hasn't been. I can give you that.
The Texans have sucked, so his name's been out of the spotlight. Same with Deshaun Watson, right? Like, and he's that whole situation. But J.J. Watt's name hasn't been on the injury list as much. He might have been, like, here and there, missed a game. But, like, before the last couple of years, Al, you're right. Like, he missed stretches. He missed a whole season. Like, he couldn't stay on the field. But the last couple of years, they were terrible. But he played almost every game last year, didn't he? Like, he wasn't hurt that lot, was he? So, like, I love the sign with him and Chandler Jones on the same line.
I was just gonna say that because if you look at it, like, outside of the favorites that were to sign him, if you look at other teams that also could have used defensive improvements, the Cardinals were one of them because, like, yeah, Chandler Jones, phenomenal, whatnot, but you don't have something that complements his defensive side of things. And that's where J.J. Watt is just a clear runner in that picture. Never mind, obviously, the fact that DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, the dude's got a great future ahead of him if he decides to become a recruiting agent. I mean, not only did he make his own contract with the Cardinals, but now he's negotiated a contract for J.J. Watt and made balling money for J.J. Watt out of nowhere.
Yeah, I look at the Cardinals, and I saw something on Twitter earlier that I was like disgusted. Someone was like, "Oh, he just went to the Texans of the NFC." No, he did not.
No, not even close.
Like, the Cardinals are so much closer to winning and have a winning mindset. They have a coach that actually knows what he's doing, a quarterback I think Deshaun Watson's a better quarterback, so I'll give that comparison. I think I'd rather Deshaun Watson than Kyler Murray. But
true.
Kyler Murray's improving for sure, and I don't think you need much more than him to win with that team. Diego said it. Defensively is where they needed help, and this is a big step in the right direction. That team was doing really well this year until they hit like a lull, and that was just because they couldn't stop anybody. So
they might realistically be like a running back away from being a true contender in the NFC, and maybe a tight end, but that's not a necessity right now. Get a good running back and an upgrade from Kenyon Drake, and you're talking about winning the NFC West and potentially going far in the NFC playoffs.
But I mean, do you really need a running back for the Cardinals, considering they have Chase Edmonds as well?
I mean, it can help. Like I'm saying, above Kenyon Drake, Edmonds would be a good, running back 2 option. But if you can upgrade Kenyon Drake, I mean, you have that and Edmonds, Diego. That's a pretty good 1-2 combo, whichever one it is.
No, I agree with that. I mean, that's where the draft is going to be a key piece for the Cardinals as well to kind of.
For sure.
Well, you look at adding a running back is a good example. The Chiefs, who didn't need any help, added Clyde Edwards-Helaire of all people in the draft this year, and he was one of the top running backs. Was on the LSU championship team, and then of all teams, he goes to the Chiefs. Like, there's going to be someone there for the Cardinals to add talent-wise, top tier talent at that position if they want to, because running backs won't go as early. The quarterback's so heavy this year in terms of top of the draft. Like, that's what teams need, and they don't need one. So they'll have an opportunity if they want a new running back and a stud guy to bring up with Kyler. They can do that.
And actually, for the Cardinals, what I would say is, like, if you look ahead of their calendar, like the 2021-2022 season, majority of the teams that they're playing are quarterbacks that are scramblers outside of the pocket. There is nobody in the NFL that shuts down a scrambler faster than J.J. Watt does.
He still got it.
That is perfect. A perfect fit for him. So
I think people are undervaluing this move in the sense of what it can do for the Cardinals. I don't think people pay. I mean, it's the Cardinals, so people probably didn't pay that much attention to them. They were in the playoff picture for most of last year until they had that lull, and they barely missed the playoffs. J.J. Watt comes in. They make some other improvements in the draft. Like, this team is not that far away from being a contender, and they probably could have been last year with the right piece. So, like, this is a great signing for them out of nowhere. I love the way he announced he signed it. Like, he wore the shirt, and he said in the press conference today, so for those of you who didn't hear it, J.J. Watt said in the press conference he ordered, like, 6 to 8 T-shirts, the final teams. He ordered the T-shirts, and he was so particular about not wanting anyone to find out that he had a friend of his brother from high school order the shirts with his credit card, so his J.J. Watt's name would not be on the packaging, so that some low-life, whatever, warehouse guy, whoever was working, like, wouldn't recognize the name and leak it and whatever. Like, that's how particular J.J. Watt was with not letting this leak. And it worked, but no one was talking about the Cardinals. And we were waiting and we saw the fake Peloton news, right? The fake Peloton account saying the final 3, whatever, and like that crap.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Like, no one saw the Cardinals on the radar. And then he comes out of nowhere on Twitter, source me, drops him in the Cardinals shirt. It's phenomenal. I love J.J. Watt. I would have wished it was a realistic timing for the Patriots, but it wasn't. Now, if this was 5 years ago, man, would he have been fun on a Patriots team.
Yep.
But it just wasn't going to work out. It wasn't worth it. But you're happy for him. Better chance of winning a Super Bowl there than he will in Houston. So all the power to him. But you know what is reliable and is good? It's our friends at Manscaped.
I was going to say, is it Manscaped by any chance?
Yeah. Oh, it's March Madness season, guys. And our brackets aren't filled out yet, obviously. But Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming, want to remind you to do so when that time comes. Their precision-engineered tools for your family jewels will help you turn that Kentucky Wildcat into your pants into a South Carolina Gamecock. Manscaped is trusted over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer, obviously, for our college basketball fans and our listeners. It's 20% off, free shipping, of course, with the code CouchGuy20 at manscaped.com. Guys, we've talked about it on the show beyond belief. Nick tried to name my baby after Manscaped. Congratulated me on all the sex I was able to have. That's awesome. But to stay clean downstairs, I don't like telling any other story besides Nick's, because Nick's is just great. When he was a kid, he used the scissors. Diego, I don't even know if you've heard this story.
Oh, I've heard this story. I already know the name of his first son.
Yeah, it's great. So we know the baby's naming after Manscaped. We all love it. Al and I use it adamantly as well. Like, the ball toner's great. It's the convenience of being able to have it being waterproof. Like, those things alone, man, make Manscaped great. And they have created the best ball hair trimmer ever, the Lawnmower 3.0. Their trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. In addition, this trimmer comes with an LED light for the more precise shave, and it's waterproof, like I just said, so make your shower shave clean and easy. Guys, that's how I do it. Grab it on the way in the shower, use the light, pop it back on the charger, and you're good to go every time you need it. The Lawnmower 3.0 comes inside their brand new Perfect Package 3.0, which is the MVP of men's grooming kits. The Perfect Package 3.0 also includes the crop preserver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. My favorite part. It gets you excited down there, has a good time. Speaking of sweaty and stinky balls, though, I am thankful for their crop reviver. This product, along with the crop preserver, is the ultimate defense from sweating, smelling, and sticking. Throw in the 2-3 gifts in their Perfect Package, a pair of high-performance Manscaped boxer briefs that'll keep your junk feeling fresh all day. And, of course, a travel shed bag when you start to can travel again, for those of you that are in this COVID world, to bring it all around. Your purchase does go towards a good cause because they are partnering with the GOAT Alex Caruso and the Testicular Cancer Society to bring awareness to testicular cancer, men's health, and early cancer detection. Manscaped is committed to raising awareness for the most common form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35 and giving support for fighters, survivors, and families impacted by testicular cancer as a part of their We Save Balls initiative. Getting, again, 20% off free shipping with the code CouchGuy20 at manscaped.com. Join the Manscaped movement and start taking care of your balls today. Again, every purchase at manscaped.com is going towards contributions made to the Testicular Cancer Society. 20% off, free shipping, CouchGuy20 at manscaped.com. Be the best ball handler this year with Manscaped. Guys, I don't know if you got excited. Clean your balls, trim them, manscaped.com.
Make yourself smell good.
I almost figured out that was so beautiful.
Yeah, make yourself smell good if you need to. A little cologne action for everybody.
Their cologne is great.
It is.
Guys, Couch Guy 20, you're welcome. Free shipping.
Those
Perfect
wipes.
package.
Those ball wipes, man.
Ball wipes get you excited. A little ball deodorant, refreshed for the day, whether you're commuting or not. It's a beautiful product. So just enjoy it. You're welcome. Couch Guy 20. All right, let's start with the Patriots in the meat of the show here, because we had two free agents, both named Kyle, released today in the NFL. Coincidentally, both named Kyle. Kyle Rudolph, 10-year vet, Minnesota Vikings, tight end, position the Patriots need. And good old friend Kyle Van Noy, released from the Miami Dolphins. He was on a 5-year, $41 million contract, something like that. And they're like, nah, you're out. See ya. Smell you later. Good for them. It's clearly a cap thing with the Dolphins. The cap's going down. They can't afford him anymore, and which is a shame. I was hoping he'd do well in Miami, right? Like, he likes Brian Flores. But let's start with Kyle Van Noy. A reunion makes sense, right? Like
1,000%.
Come back to the Patriots. Just easy fix, right?
You would think.
Why won't Bill Belichick do this then? But that's my question, you guys. On paper, it makes so much sense. Al, and Diego, why are we going to listen in a few months and go, well, why didn't Kyle Van Noy come back to the Patriots? What was the reasoning behind Bill not going back for him?
Because it's one of two things. The silly answer is Bill Belichick doesn't do anything logical, and we all know that, and it's just going to be illogical for him. Yeah, we're used to it by now. But I think the main thing is he's going to think Van Noy's 30 years old. He's going to be entering sort of the back half of his career. Granted, he's still going to be effective. I mean, we saw how effective he was in his 4 seasons with the Patriots. Mm-hmm. But the thing is I think Belichick wants to go young on defense. That's the whole thing. He wants to build around guys like Jennings and Uchi and Winovich and guys like that, along with guys like Hightower and Chung coming back into the fold. But the thing is, Kyle Van Noy can take care of another linebacker position for you. You need linebackers, especially if you have Hightower back in the fold and you brought Van Noy back. Like, that gives you 2016, 2017 vibes all over again.
Like, why not a 1 or 2 year deal?
Exactly. And the thing with the Dolphins is they're saving, I think, close to $10 million in cap space by releasing Van Noy. So, I mean, you could sign him. I think you could realistically get him, especially with all the cap room the Patriots have, 2 for 14. 2 years, 14 mil. Sign him.
I was saying that's probably some of the most they'll get. Like, he's not going to get a ton with the cap space going down. Like, Patriots are one of the more favored, should be one of the favored ones to sign him, not because of the history, but the cap space they have is insane.
It makes sense.
At that position, they need help, and they have the cap space. And what will he do? 2-year gap. If you need help before drafting somebody else, give him a year or 2 contract and let him prove that he's still worthy of top money, and then he'll do what he did with Jamie Collins, right? Like, Jamie Collins left, got paid, came back, had a 1-year deal, performed, and got paid again. Let the Patriots be that paying factor for you. I don't care. He clearly loved his time here, so why not come back for a year or 2?
I think for Bill, what he does is basically exactly what he did last year when it came to Cam Newton, where he literally just waited towards like the latter part of the window to finally make a move, because knowing Van Noy, the only reason why Van Noy actually left the Patriots was money.
Mhm.
Miami had it. Miami had it available. Fun city to go to. You still, like Al alluded to, in your 30s. If you're in your 30s, you got nothing else better to do and you want money, Miami is the place that you go to. So to come back to New England, I think he's going to want money and want Belichick to invest heavy on him. And we all know that Belichick and Kraft are not going to do that. If instead, what they'll do is they'll probably just invest heavily on the draft and actually promise these guys lengthy contracts that are going to be meaningful for their career moving forward.
I mean, to be fair, I'm in the page of like, I'd rather them not invest in Van Noy if that means they invest in a receiver. Like, I'd rather them sign a free agent receiver like Allen Robinson or someone like that than
I agree with that.
Or Kyle Rudolph rather than investing in.
I think the one team that can actually use Van Noy is actually not that far from Miami. Use the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's a place where he can go and actually be the centerpiece of that defensive block, where Jacksonville really needs it. He can be that elite kind of old-time professional, if you want.
Playing for an old-time coach
that will need his expertise coming into his first year of the NFL. So, and if you're looking for it to be paid well money, well, there's nobody else here in the NFL right now that has enough cap space like the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's another place where I can see him. Do
Tampa
I think
Bay?
Van Noy, maybe Tampa Bay as well? I would even dare to say maybe even the Green Bay Packers, considering they also need defensive alignments as well. But I think for Van Noy, though, I think it's literally going to come down to the wire, and maybe a one-year deal, like you pointed out, with the Belichick Kraft era, and see how that goes out, where neither party has anything to lose, and where there is no underlying promises that are going to risk the future for the Patriots moving forward.
See, I think with Van Noy, it's going to be a team, like you said, obviously needs defensive help. Obviously, I think the draft's going to dictate where he goes, because I think a lot of teams might be in a situation where they'd rather take a guy who out of the draft who's younger, who could probably play now, and have that young ability, have him tied up for a cheaper deal than having to pay for Van Noy. But if someone on the draft, say the Patriots, misses out on their guy, then you might say, okay, well, Van Noy's out there. I can bring him in for a couple years until I can draft another guy. That seems like the more likely scenario. Look, I think the Patriots have a lot of ability drafting these defensive linebackers. I think Belichick's obviously a specialty there. Like, we all hate on him for drafting receivers, but he really is good at drafting defensive talent.
Yeah.
And so I almost would rather him draft a young guy, if it's one or the other, draft a young guy instead of Van Noy, and then pay a guy like Rudolph or Allen Robinson to come in offensively, because he sucks at drafting offensive talent.
Exactly.
If I can have both, great. Give me Van Noy and a young dude. But I don't know if I'm going to get both. So, because I would love a reunion of Van Noy. Like, don't get me wrong. Van Noy coming back for a 1-2 year deal would be great. Get some younger guys into play underneath them. Let him play with Hightower again. And these guys, Chase Winovich is still here. Like, you let him play with the guys he's familiar with, get comfortable like Jamie Collins did, and then he's out, brings him money, and these young guys are ready to play. So I think there's a way to do both. But my guess is Belichick bails on him and drafts some young dude who I trust him to do. Like, that's the guy I trust him to draft, is the young defensive player.
Yeah. And who wouldn't want a guy, by the way, this is just a quote from Kyle Van Noy after he got released by the Dolphins. I'm surprised and disappointed in their decision. As a captain, I gave my all to the team. I fought through a painful hip injury during the season, including spending a night in the hospital after a game. I was brought there to be a leader, and I know my teammates looked up to and respected me. I am looking forward to making an impact on my next team on and off the field. Play the Bill Belichick walking through the stadium gif, meme, whatever it is right now, because that's a guy that Belichick should be getting, but we know he's not going to, because it just thinks.
But see, even just with that tweet, that just shows his immaturity. Somebody who's like, look at, for example, J.J. Watt and compare it to Kyle Van Noy. J.J. Watt has been known for many injuries, has never said anything about having to be paid less because of the amount of injuries that he's had to deal with. Instead, he's taken the high road and matured the hell up and just let his talent in the gridiron speak for himself, rather than send out these pointless tweets that just sound like literally like an Antonio Brown wannabe, where he just wants to grab the center of attention.
It's bitter.
But that's where I disagree with you, because here's the thing. It was short and sweet and to the point. Now, I understand where you can say the hip injury part. If you take that out, then I think you have a clear statement. But what about the rest of it would make you think this is an immature thing. Is it the hip injury part? Is that the part you're sort of alluding to?
No, I think it's immature overall. Like the fact that he was a captain, okay, that's great and all. They trusted you because of that level of maturity and professionalism supposedly behind it. To bring that up, I think it's kind of silly at this point, considering that you've been released anyways. To talk about being surprised about being released, I think any athlete would eventually mention that. That's not a knock on him. But I think the overall aspect of it, like the middle of it, the middle part of that tweet, I'm just like, you could have done away with it. You could have just been like, I'm surprised at their decision, but look forward towards my future.
Wasn't Kyle Van Noy the guy who started the boogeyman thing here?
Yeah, it was. It was Van Noy.
Was it him or was it Hightower?
I thought it was him.
I thought it was Hightower. But,
Oh,
I mean, it might have been that whole group, but like,
yeah.
by the way, take this for what it's worth. But according to Karen Garegian, who was a Pat's beat
she's
columnist
good.
for the
Love
Boston
Karen.
for the
Gronk loves Karen. If that says anything. Gronk loves Karen.
So she's a Patriots beat columnist for the Boston Herald. She came out and said, this was around 2:30 today, for Kyle Van Noy, who's been told he's no longer wanted in Miami, a return to the Patriots would be in the realm of possibility, according to a source. So there could be some movement here.
I mean, they have to talk about it. If the Patriots know what they're doing, which I think they do, they'd be idiots and they'd be dumb not to look at them and not to have the conversation.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
And say, hey, Kyle, like, we're not going to break the bank for you here. We'd love to have you back. We think it'd be a fit. You want to come on a 1 or 2 year deal for the right amount of money. You're going to play your butt off. We know you're good. We know you have the ability. And then after 2 years, if your value's there, you can go get paid somewhere else. Who's going to say no to that? If you're Kyle Van Noy, look, and he's seen it work, right? Jamie Collins just did it like twice. Jamie Collins did it twice and got paid again and then sucked. So like the Patriots defensive scheme and Belichick has an aura around defensive guys to get paid. Stephon Gilmore came here, killed it, and now
the season.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a good fit. I wish you'd come back. Now, on the flip side, the other Kyle Rudolph, I was blanking on his last name, tight end, Minnesota Vikings, been there for 10 years. I keep saying, I've said it almost every year at a deadline, like they should have traded for this guy when Brady was here. Would have been an awesome tight end fit alongside Gronk, right? To play with Gronk when he was still here. So now that he's a free agent, two parts to this. One, Patriots should be interested, but will they be? Probably not. Two, would Kyle Van Noy want to play with the Patriots? Played on a Vikings team, got a taste of success, was at that Minnesota Miracle team, all that stuff. Would he want to come play for the Patriots if, say, Cam Newton was the quarterback or if Jimmy G was the quarterback? Would he want to come here versus someone, say, if a Cleveland, if Njoku leaves, right? Maybe a second tight end in Buffalo, some help in Green Bay, these other teams that could use a second tight end. And as a veteran, second tight end is not a terrible gig. Get paid decent money, chance to win a ring. He's already made money in Minnesota. Would Kyle Rudolph even want to play here?
I don't think so, because he's a 10-year veteran. He's probably in his 30s now at least.
31, 30, something like that.
Right around there. Yeah, so he's getting into his 30s now. The thing with the NFL –
and mind you, that too, to your point, Al, tight ends don't last that long in this league.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, in professional sports now, the free agents are going to contenders right away. Like, they're not – like, obviously they want to get paid when they're younger, but when they get older, it's like, I want to win a championship, because this is the last opportunity I have to go to a team that's going to win a championship. Who are the teams that we just talked about that are close to a championship? The Packers, the Bills, the Browns.
The Cardinals?
You could say the Cardinals. You could say the Saints. There are a lot of teams that you can go to that need the position. Maybe not the Saints as much, but there are a lot of teams that could use either a primary tight end or a backup tight end, like you alluded to, Jared. So I don't think he would want to come here. I think
Rudolph would rather take a backup tight end on a championship team than be a starter in New England.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's
I have both sides of the coin on that one. I don't mind him coming to New England, and I don't think he would mind either, because he could basically model that move the same way as Jimmy Graham modeled his move over to Chicago, I want to say. It was?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. You could basically model that same exact move to a team that will be willing to invest their time and listen to what he's got to say and kind of provide that expertise, especially as I think we can all agree that first draft pick for the Patriots this year is going to be either a wide receiver or a tight end. So if you bring in somebody young that's going to be a tight end,
Did you just say you're not going to take a quarterback in the first round?
I think we all know. I think we all know where this is going to go this year. I think
the Patriots have been heavily scouting the top 5 quarterbacks in the draft. That's another source.
They're looking.
I mean, they were looking also at J.J. Watt and didn't complete that transaction.
They
trading up
serious,
in the draft
though.
versus trading up in the draft versus looking at J.J. Watt this year is a totally different story.
That I agree with. Yes. So all right. So let's say first or second pick of the draft is a wide receiver or a tight end.
Has to be.
Why wouldn't you want a professional tight end in the league to be the role model of this newbie coming into your organization?
Even the guys you have on the roster now, like Asiasi's supposed to be this famous pass catcher down the road. Like, wouldn't you want Rudolph mentoring him?
Exactly. You wouldn't want Ryan Izzo mentoring Asiasi. I mean,
they love Ryan Izzo in house. Just saying.
I love Ryan Izzo.
It's insane.
I love the dude, but I just don't think he is even in the Rudolph atmosphere of things. Now, another team that I could see Kyle Rudolph joining is, and this is gonna be a surprising one for you guys, but I even think Kansas City Chiefs, because they could use a backup for Travis Kelce.
Dude, if he goes to the Chiefs, that is the ultimate ring chasing, which I don't blame.
Yeah,
I don't blame him if he does.
Listen,
I don't blame him. Take a 1-year deal, go ring chase, and bring some value.
It'd be the same exact bold move as like when we had Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez as our tight ends. It'd be that.
What about, if you want to use that as an example, what about going to Tampa Bay?
That too. Go
play with the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you got 3 tight ends. You got Gronk, you got Brate, and then you have Rudolph.
Dude, it's not like Gronk caught that many passes this year either. He was mainly a tight end blocking tight end.
I was just about to say though, imagine if you wanted to run the ball and have just all 3 of them out there if you could.
Jesus.
Blocking? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And you got to think, right, you're going to need some weapons, right? Like Chris Godwin's probably gone if you're Tampa Bay, right? He's going to make too much. I want Patriots to get him, sure. But like that's a whole other conversation. But why not supplement Chris Godwin with Kyle Rudolph and maybe Julian Edelman?
I know.
Like, if Julian Edelman plays, but like,
I don't know if Edelman comes back this year.
He could get cut.
He is claiming he wants to play. That's the Edelman news. He's saying, I want to play. I'm not sure if my knee will hold up or whatever it is. Is it his knee?
Yeah, it's his knee.
It's his knee. So he's saying he wants to play. He's not sure if his knee will hold up. By all counts, it sounds like he's playing for the Patriots if he plays. That's what I'm getting. But if they do cut him, if he wants to play and they do cut him, which is a very realistic possibility, guys, Bill could look at him and go, well, we don't need you this year. And you're not 100% healthy.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I'm
just going to bail on you. You're going to play 1 more year and probably retire. Go play with Brady. Like Edelman, if Edelman doesn't play for the Patriots, he's either going to play for the Bucs or retire. Like, I don't think there's any other team that he's going to go for. I don't think there's any other team that's going to entice him enough to go outside of New England because he really does. I think Julian Edelman is a Bostonian. Like, he is full blown. He will live here probably forever. He still lives in downtown Boston. Like, he wants to be a Bostonian. The only way he doesn't play for the Patriots this year is if he plays with Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. That's the only way. And I can see that happening because I really do believe that Bill Belichick will look at him and go, are you really 100%? Do we need you? We have these guys here. Like, we're young. We have a crappy quarterback. Like, I don't want you right now. I don't need you right now. Go play with Tom.
Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be a kick in the you-know-what?
No, because Edelman gets cut, goes to play with Tom, and then Cam Newton's back as your quarterback. That's the ultimate kick in the nuts this year for the Patriots.
Oh, by the way, speaking of quarterback, real quick, Washington football team released Alex Smith, who was the 2020 comeback player of the year. If you're the Patriots, do you try to sign Alex Smith?
Nope. I still want like Jimmy. I want Ryan Fitzpatrick. I take Gardner Minshew over Alex Smith right now.
Say that's your last option. It's either him or Cam.
If it's that or Cam.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Cam would be a second year in. I think most people would rather play with Cam than Alex Smith, and that's a big factor in this, guys. When I said rather Cam Newton still has a draw around the league. Like, I'd almost want Cam over Gardner Minshew, and that's partially because who wants to play with Gardner Minshew over Cam freaking Newton?
Oh my God,
it's Superman. It's Superman. Like, I think a lot of players around the league still view him as Superman.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and people have said it. Like, he still draws. So if you want to bring in some like, would Allen Robinson come play with Cam Newton? Probably.
I wouldn't mind that combination.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, as much as Cam sucked last year, and I don't want him here, if it's that or what, Marcus Mariota? Like,
I would love Mariota. I've been saying this, I think,
He
for
has.
a very long time now, and I've been beating around the bush, but like now it's becoming even far more realistic of a move for the Patriots to make, considering his youth, his arm, and his
especially if he
talent.
gets released. If he gets released.
Especially that too. And the fact that the Raiders want to just continue building around Derek Carr. They're not
There's no
ready
need for
to
him.
move on from Derek Carr anymore. So there's really no need for the Raiders to have on the payroll somebody like
Well, Diego,
Marcus
they can't
Mariota.
even afford both of them together. Like with the
Exactly.
cap going down, they can't afford both of them. And they've clearly chosen Carr because they're saying they'll get rid of Mariota for a 5th round pick. So,
Jesus. Yeah, exactly.
like, if you're the Patriots, and I talked about, I think it was last week how we talked about this. Diego, my ideal situation is however you get Mariota, 5th round free agency if he gets cut, whatever, and then you bring in a young kid, and then you also bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick, and let the three of them battle it out. Like Cam Newton, I don't want Cam Newton anywhere in this team unless I absolutely have to. I understand Jarrett Stidham might be there initially, but like probably gets cut because they don't like him. I know nobody there likes him. That's in terms of player wise. If you give me a quarterback battle between Mariota, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and a kid you draft, you figure out who's going to start. You keep the kid, obviously, and then if you want to keep 3 quarterbacks, you keep them all 3. But like, if not, you cut Fitzpatrick probably.
So my ideal situation, like personally, I'm not a hater of Fitzpatrick. I absolutely love the dude. I have nothing but respect for him. Does he fit in Boston? Yes, obviously. His personality oozes Boston all around. I'm just not sure if he is that backup guy for New England. I'm not sure.
I want him to start.
On a 1-year deal, maybe?
On a 1-year deal, maybe I could
start
give that. But
if
I would
he's not
say,
starting, I want him cut.
I would say since the Belichick Kraft era right now seems to be building up for the future in a sustainable manner with youth behind it, I definitely wouldn't mind an extension deal contract with Cam Newton around it, only if you are bringing Marcus Mariota to piggyback off of Cam Newton and have a competition between the two. You don't need Jarrett Stidham. You don't need Brian Hoyer, and you can definitely move away from some of the pieces like N'Keal Harry and maybe even an additional piece, because N'Keal Harry was a bust. We all know that, and Cam Newton had literally no weapons at all last year. And Jared, listen, I'm okay on Stidham. I just don't consider him my backup quarterback. I think he needs to change scenery. A team that it's easier to build on rather than the high competitive environment that you have here in the AFC East. Because keep in mind, Buffalo is still growing tremendously. The Jets are going to make a run for Deshaun Watson if they can,
and probably the favorite too late, Deshaun Watson.
Exactly. Miami is warming up real fast, no pun intended.
And also wants Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and that leaves New England with what? With just Cam Newton and Jarrett Stidham? Makes no sense.
2015 Cam Newton I'll take, but you're not getting
in a heartbeat.
So
exactly. That's
my issue is I'm okay with Cam being here because I think the pull is there. Like if you give me a 2-year deal with Cam Newton, I don't if he doesn't sign if he signs more than a 1-year deal, I'll be shocked. But like if you say give me a 1 or 2 year deal with Cam Newton, and then go to free agents and say, okay, you're playing with Cam, that's your quarterback, but you're also going to have a young guy there too, knowing that we're building for the future. But you're playing with Cam. Okay, great. Allen Robinson, sign me up, right? Like I think Cam, free agent wise, out of everyone we're talking about, drafts, Mac Jones, all these guys, Cam Newton probably draws the best for a free agent.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Newton was probably one of the very first guys to bring into the NFL that scrambling quarterback type of play. I mean, if you look at
Michael Vick, yeah.
I mean, if you look at Lamar Jackson, if you look at Pat Mahomes and any of these other guys, Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, if you look at who they model basically the type of play, but just made it that much better, it's Cam Newton. No other than 2015 Cam Newton. Mm-hmm. Do I mind Alex Smith and the Patriots? Not at all. Like, I love the guy. He's a stud. But do I take him over at Cam Newton? No, because Alex is just that much of a higher risk of injury that leaves us in a crapshoot.
Yeah. Diego, are you a Mac Jones supporter?
I don't know much about the guy, to be honest with you. Wouldn't mind him, but I'm more sold on another pick.
How about in the first round? If you got Mac Jones, let's say hypothetically Patriots draft Mac Jones first round, would you be supportive
15
of it?
at 15.
At 15.
Yeah, I'd be in for it. I'd be curious to see what he brings, but I'm not sure if I'm like if I'm the Patriots right now and I'm trying to trade for either a higher pick in the first round or trying to trade up for higher value. Like if I'm really gonna draft a quarterback in the first round, my elective choice is Zach Wilson.
I know, and there's been a lot of people that
Like that's
are in that boat. I will say this really quick. Free agency is less than 2 weeks away, so that's going to solve a lot of questions. But ideally, if you're the Patriots, right, you're at 15.
Whoa.
Yep, I got at 15. So then when you're at 15, you're hoping that one of two things happens. Either Kyle Pitts falls to you at 15 for your tight end position. That takes care of your tight end. Or you hope that Jalen Waddle falls down to 15. Then if you can get Jalen Waddle, you sign a free agent, wide receiver free agency, whether it's Allen Robinson or Chris Godwin or Juju Smith-Schuster. Then if you have one of those guys, Waddle, healthy Edelman, and Jacoby Myers as your 3 or 4 receiver, that's pretty good.
But then you have Cam Newton still throwing them the ball who can't hit the side of a barn.
Well, maybe and listen, I hated Cam Newton too, and Diego can attest to that. Maybe with a healthy season and maybe with a full training camp under his belt, maybe the arm strength comes back. I'm not banking.
It's not, but see, I don't even think it's the arm strength isn't the issue. It's the accuracy and the wobbly balls coming out of his arm.
I think
he's launching balls down the field, no problem. It's the when Jacoby Myers is wide open and he throws it 10 yards in front of him in the dirt is what I'm concerned about.
That I can give, and I mean, again, like I mentioned previously, keep in mind the type of conference that you're facing right now. It's a highly competitive conference that you're facing that has developed their defensive game to people that actually create plays defensively and can change the course of the game regardless of who you have throwing. I think for Kim, again, like I've said so many times, last year is really just not a true testament to be able to judge him. Did he make stupid and careless mistakes? Absolutely. Yep. Like the fumbles against Buffalo and a couple of others, like those were bullcrap moves that I even questioned. But besides that, for throwing weapons, the dude had nobody. Besides Julian Edelman, the dude had nobody. And the few times that he was able to find Damiere Byrd and Jacoby Myers, 7 out of those 10 passes that were going those ways were connected.
Yep.
And that's if he was able to be protected within the pocket, because we also didn't have anybody really protecting his pocket as much as we and accustomed to in the Tom Brady era.
And hopefully Marcus Cannon coming back too will help with that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
But then you got to worry about Andrews.
You re-sign Andrews. Tooney, I'm not too worried about because you could have Michael Onwenu fill in that spot. So then you could have, when healthy, Isaiah Wynn, Onwenu, Andrews, Shaq Mason, Marcus Cannon.
Which isn't terrible. And don't get me wrong,
I like it.
Offense, this team, no matter what you do offensively, the powerhouse of this team is going to be the running backs.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I think they're a running team, and they support their running backs, right? Damian Harris is clearly their top dog, and I think they found someone in Damian Harris, which is good. With him, Sony Michel, and Rex Burkhead, I think you're okay. James White probably is gone in free agency to go to someone who can play. Now, I think James White had a down tick this year because it wasn't Tom Brady on the team, and he's so used to Tom and catching and passes. Maybe James White's a low flyer on the Bucs situation too. I think a lot of these former teammates have the right flexibility to go play with Tom if they want to. I think the 2 quarterbacks that I really think are realistic in the draft are Mac Jones, and I think Trey Lance could be there if you want to trade up. If you're willing to trade up and move, Trey Lance is someone that I think you can get as a Patriots team and would fit and is young. He's like 20, right? Stupid young. And his arm strength is mobile. I'd rather him over Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones could actually be there at 15, but people are even saying now he might not even be there at 15 because that many people need quarterbacks this year. So it's the wrong year for the Patriots to be in the middle of the first round looking for a quarterback. But I think if they want to, and I think they should want to, Trey Lance could be available for a trade up for a team that doesn't need a quarterback.
By the way, trade 15 and Stephon Gilmore. That's a trade package that a lot of teams will be calling in on.
Stephon Gilmore won't be a Patriot in the fall.
No,
Like,
it's a foregone conclusion. He's gone.
He's going. So used him as an asset. You trade him for a stud wide receiver, right? I don't know who's out. I don't know anybody off the top of my head that you could trade Stephon Gilmore for that'd be a fit. But like, or you trade him in the draft and say, hey, I'll take give me the pick so I can take Trey Lance and I'll give you Stephon Gilmore in 15.
But see, like for me personally, I see this draft as like a nothing to lose kind of situation for the Patriots because it's literally nothing to lose. They got a great amount of cap space, some decent picks overall in the whole entire draft. So they're in a situation where they've got nothing to lose. And I've said this before, there's nothing more dangerous than a person that's got nothing to lose. But if I'm going to use an asset like Stephon Gilmore, I'm going to want to use it in a trade where I can get a stud of a wide receiver or a tight end already in the NFL so that I don't have to worry about my drafts. Because if I'm going to use Stephon Gilmore in number 15 just to get a higher pick in the first round, kind of a wasted deal, to be honest. But
if it's your future quarterback,
yeah, especially if you can get into the top 10, maybe even
if you're
top,
using Stephon Gilmore,
7.
Take Trey Lance out of it because I know this is your guy. If you can trade Stephon Gilmore in 15 and get Zach Wilson,
potentially, I would potentially consider that.
See, because I think Zach Wilson's a sure thing. Like I think Zach Wilson's he's an NFL quarterback.
And Gilmore's going to be gone. That's the thing.
No matter what.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. I agree that Gilmore is absolutely gone. I don't even picture him.
The thing that I think Diego has on his side for this argument is they don't have to trade Stephon Gilmore. He's under control. Right. If they don't trade him and they don't find anything worth of value, he plays, and it's in his best interest to play because. Right. So I don't think the Patriots have to deal him. Now, will they? Yes, and I think they'll get a ton for him. I'm not saying they're not going to trade him, but if you're telling me if they look at that and go, okay, the only way we're trading Stephon Gilmore is 15 him and for the quarterback, and it's not necessarily the quarterback we want, let him play.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe you trade him at the deadline when something else comes up. Like there's ways to trade Stephon Gilmore outside of before the season starts. But I think Stephon Gilmore is the type of player that won't sit out. I think at this point he has his money, he'll play.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it there. That's it. There's nothing else. There's nothing else to talk about. We've talked enough. Red Sox are starting. That's great news. The Celtics suck still, and the Bruins.
They're 500 now. They're back up to 500.
Hey, the Knicks have a better record than them.
By a game, but yeah.
The Knicks are the 4 seed, guys, as we record this. The Knicks are the 4 seed. That's what's happening in the Eastern Conference.
And the Celtics are probably going to get waxed by the Clippers tonight.
Probably, 100%. But good news, the Bruins are one of the best teams in the league, and the Red Sox are a month away from opening day. And we can focus on that.
Yay.
We'll leave it there. Couch Guys Sports podcast, of course, on iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. CouchGuysSports.com. Follow the Twitch channel, the YouTube channel, all the other podcasts. We have members of Into the Triangle on this podcast, Legends Lingo, Yellow Card Podcast, bunch. There's a bunch. So just go follow them all. Al, we might have Nick back next week. I don't know. If not, we'll call somebody else up to the big leagues. It's fine. We're here.
Exactly.
We'll talk to y'all next week. See ya.
See you guys.